everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. How are you? Are you happy? Are you sad? Hi friends, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Yay! Woohoo! I am in Minnesota and it has been dreary and cold and raining and gross and I'm sick of it, and it rained all summer and it's supposed to be a really cold winter, and all I do is stay inside because the weather's so crummy. If any of you else are feeling that way, if this is what it's like to live in Seattle or Oregon, I couldn't do this. If this was like this all the time, it has been raining for months. So let's talk about Kate Gosselin, my favorite new mom to talk about. No, really. I love bad moms on this channel. Okay, so last night, the show Kate Plus 8 premiered, the special of Maddie and Kara going off to college, her two oldest twins who were the start of the Plus 8, who she attempted to make famous, as discussed in Robert Hoffman's book that he wrote about Kate in 2011 and published again in 2014. When that failed, she came up with a plan to be just like the McCoy family, who had septuplets, I think. I don't even know. Lots of kids. Anyways, so Kate, I did a video already. If you haven't checked it out, I will put a little thing up there in a few minutes where you can click to it. But in the special, I did a whole video about the special and how, the twins were, for the most part, most excited about leaving their mother and their house. And a lot of people in comments were like, well, that's not uncommon for a kid your that age, blah, 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 blah. Right. But at the same time, these kids are not that connected to their mother. And obviously, there has been some media attention as of late because Jon Gosselin, her ex-husband, finally spoke out. A 10-year gag order that had been placed by Kate and the network TLC was lifted, and it freed him up from talking about what happened during their divorce and everything leading up to it, and all of this surrounding media hubbub and the narrative that was spun, and how Kate has alienated him from his children and poisoned their minds and keeps them away from him. And that interview was unleashed a couple weeks ago. He now has custody of Hannah, one of the septuplets, and sextuplets, and Colin, another one of the sextuplets. And these two, Hannah's actually been with him longer. Hannah has been with him since 2017. Colin actually came back home with him in December of 2018 after he was able to get Colin out of a psychiatric hospital for children that John says that Kate placed him in for having ADHD. Now, the facility that Colin was at was for children that have very difficult behaviors, which he alleges was because Kate was abusive with Colin. Now, interestingly, not a lot has been talked about what happened with Hannah. So during last night's episode, she talks about how Hannah wasn't there and how Hannah had made a choice to be with her father and not to go on this trip with them because they took the kids to go look at colleges, to take Maddie and Kara to tour colleges. And Kate, during the episode, basically said, Hannah has made her choice. She wants to be with her father. What wasn't really talked about was that in 2017, an altercation actually at an orthodontics office resulted in Hannah not wanting to go home with Kate. And so at the clinic, Kate showed up, I guess, to get the kids, and Hannah didn't want to go with her mom. They actually had to call the cops. Hannah said that she didn't want to go home with her mom. Jon has said that at one time when he had the kids with him and he went to drop them back off at home, Hannah had told him that as he dropped them off at the gate of their house to go in, He said that Hannah told him she didn't want to go home. She didn't want to be with her mom. She didn't like the way that her mom was treating her. She didn't like the responsibilities that her mom put on her head. She didn't like the filming. And Hannah didn't want to go home. And so Jon said that Hannah decided that she wanted to live with Jon. And so Jon went to court to get custody changed for Hannah. And Kate didn't even show up to the court proceedings. She didn't show up to the court proceedings for Hannah, and she didn't show up to the court proceedings for Colin. In fact, she didn't even, according to Jon, she visited Colin only 3 times during the time that he was away and spent less than 2 hours with him in 3 years and has not seen him since he's returned home in December of 2018. And Kate doesn't reference Colin, none of the kids reference Colin, and none of the kids actually talk about Hannah either. It's like these 2 kids don't even exist. So Kate is still pushing the Kate plus 8, even though there's only 6, and now there's technically only 4 because Maddie and Kara are gone. And she is still sticking to this, I'm the protector, I'm this. And she hadn't responded to Jon's claims until yesterday, seemingly. So on Instagram, she wrote, I love these kids fiercely. I don't apologize for my tears. And she might be talking about how she was crying on the episode. And then she said, times have been so tough and so needlessly unfair for them. Despite it all, they've turned out to be such wonderful, amazing human beings. I cannot wait to see what lies ahead for each of them once they get away from those who have tried to destroy them versus protect them. So that final sentence there, I cannot wait to see what lies ahead for each of them once they get away from those that have tried to destroy them versus protect them. What does she even mean? Her kids don't even see Jon. Like, Maddie and Kara don't even have a relationship with Jon. So how can he destroy them if he's literally not even in their lives? They don't even want to see him. Maddie and Kara online and in interviews had said multiple times that they don't want to see their dad because their dad always talks about them in the media. Yet, Kate was telling all of these things about, like, basically making it impossible for these kids to even want to see their parent, to see their father. And so I'm guessing, my assumption is that Jon felt his only way to actually reach his kids was through media interviews, which isn't the best way to reach out. But if you feel like your ex-wife is interjecting and interfering in your ability to parent and communicate with your kids, maybe he felt that was his only outlet, was to speak to the media about the kids. I don't know. I can't say. I've never been in that situation, but at the same time, I could understand that might be why he did that. But I do believe this has to do with Jon because of the recent interviews that he has been doing. He does have some interaction with the other kids. I don't know how much. In an interview with them, he said that he doesn't see them as frequently, but Hannah still talks to them, although not as often as they had been, and that Hannah and Kate barely talk to each other at all. Like, what? So it's been a tough couple of years, but it sounds like 2 of the kids that Kate had the most trouble with don't want to talk to their mother. Should we be shocked? In Robert Hoffman's book from 2011, he actually talked a lot about how she disciplined her children. And in journals that he found, which she actually threw away, can you even believe that? Like, he found her journal in the trash. People, celebrities, don't throw your journals away. There's always someone lurking. She wrote about how much she couldn't control Colin. She wrote about in her book how much she couldn't connect to Colin. She wrote in her journal that she hurt him so much with her spankings and hits that she literally thought she was going to severely hurt him. She wrote in her journal that she prayed to God that she would not hit her children as much as she did. She talked about how she couldn't understand why Colin acted out, why she couldn't connect to Colin. Do you know how old he was when she was writing this kind of stuff? Colin was 2 years old when she was writing about this kind of stuff. 2. She and Jon, apparently, according to her journals, disagreed with how she decided to discipline her children. She and Jon didn't see eye to eye, and Jon would have to take away things, and she had a wooden spoon that she called the spanker that she used on them. She wrote frequently in her journal about how much she spanked the kids just for being kids. But in my mind, I don't agree with that kind of stuff, and there's so much evidence through data, through scientific research, through studies that have proven that corporal punishment is not an effective way to discipline your child, especially with a child that's 2 years old, because they don't have the ability to process the reasons why you're doing it and why you're doing something. So the biggest way that now psychologists suggest and experts suggest that you do is through positive reinforcement and redirection. Back then, we still knew that, and it was becoming less and less common for this type of things to go on. But is it really any wonder now, when we look back at how she treated him when he was 2, that he didn't want to have a part of her life? And if she's also doing this to her other children, would it be surprising that they would also not want to be around their mother? Now, for Hannah's sake, they didn't want to be... She put a lot of the responsibility of taking care of all of the sextuplets on Hannah. She called Hannah her leader. And Hannah didn't want that responsibility. She felt it was too much. A lot of the book that is written by Robert Hoffman also discusses about how Kate has so many handlers in the lives of the children that she actually doesn't interact with them all that much. They have nannies. They have people that help with food. They have... like when they were little, and they still have people and staff that are helping in their house. While the kids were being raised, she was, getting her nails done, going to the spa, buying clothes, going on shopping trips, traveling with the security guard Steve all over the country. So it's not so much wondering why these kids would want to leave. Maddie and Kara literally said on the special last night that they would rather, their biggest thing about leaving is to get away and move out of their house and not have to live in their house anymore. So I don't think we should be really surprised by that. So Kate's idea of protection, I don't agree with. I don't think that she's protected these children. In fact, she has exploited them. She has worked them to the bone since they've been born. They have been on TV since the sextuplets have been basically ripped or removed from her uterus. She was delivered via C-section. They have had so many they had Kate and Jon +8, Kate +8, all these different specials, all the different specials before the actual series, all the cookbooks, the books, the meet and greets. I mean, these kids have been working to the bone, and people in their family that expressed concern for that and the schedules that they have at the time were alienated, and she got rid of her family members that spoke out and tried to protect the kids. And when Jon and her divorced, he didn't want them on TV, and that, she was like, well, they want me to. And then she accused Jon of pretending to cheat on her. There's been a lot of things that I don't think she's done to protect these kids. She's put their entire lives out to all of us for consumption. They've never had a choice in what people know about them. They've never been given the option to not be on TV because that's the only income that Kate has. She's never had a job in this entire time outside of being on reality TV. She's a registered nurse. I don't know if she still has her license. So she theoretically could have a job, but she doesn't. Her entire livelihood is being a public figure and using her kids to make money. And to me, as a parent, that is not protection. That's exploitation. If a child doesn't have a say in what their digital imprint looks like on the world, I think that's exploiting your child. So that's just me. I think Jon tried to protect them, and he couldn't get around the machine that was TLC and Kate. So, I am concerned to see what will happen down the line with these two twins. I feel like a tell-all could be coming by them. I am expecting some level of rebellion from them after leaving their mother's clutches. I mean, she has had them in such controlled constraints for such a long time. I wouldn't be shocked if we start to hear some stuff about them. I mean, I hope the best for them. They're both very, very smart people. I mean, Jon and Kate they're very intelligent. Jon's father was, I believe, a dentist or a doctor. So these are people that have really good, Jon's family has good pedigree, which is what Kate wanted. Kate wanted to marry the doctor, and now she's pushing Kara to become a doctor, so she might finally get the doctor that she's wanted all of these years. So I am gonna say BS, Kate. You did not protect these kids, and the reason why people are so critical of you is because normal parents don't make the choices that you make. Normal parents don't co-parent so ineffectively that they separate their children from their father. Normal parents don't try to control their children so much that they make their children work, and normal parents don't rely on their children to make them money. Normal parents work for a living and provide for their children from their work. They don't expect their children to provide for them. That's not protection. And your children are so well known now that there's no such thing as anonymity for them because everyone can recognize their faces. So this is the latest on Kate. I don't know if they have any more of these specials planned, but I do hope at some point we can start to see some more independence from the children and see what the truth behind all of this is, and if any of these other kids will try to reunite with their father Jon. And I'll also be interested to see if Jon has more to say after this last special. All right, you guys, that's all I've got for now. I am still working with Matt Beyer to get him on a stream later today. That did get canceled last night, but he and I are working to find a time this afternoon or later tonight. And I will let you guys know as soon as I have a time for that. All right, I'll be back later. Bye.